Good morning. It is Sunday. What day is it? Sunday, July the 7th. And we're back in the kitchen. We are going to be doing a couple projects today. And obviously we had a family situation and we just have not gone out dashing this weekend. So we are going to do a canning video, and we're going to do two projects. We're going to can some turkey because we got a total of 306 pounds of pork, split it with my daughter and son-in-law. So we have approximately 150 pounds of pork in the freezer, which we had some stuff in the freezer, so now our freezer is completely full. We had no room for this butterball turkey. So we're going to partially cook it, and then we'll cut it up, put it into jars, and can it. That way it will be shelf stable when you need it. So you can use it in, you can make turkey pot pie, you can make turkey soup, anything you would have used chicken for, you can use turkey, and you'll have it in, sitting on your shelf, ready to be used, and, it's shelf stable. It can last for years. So that's what we're going to do today. So we are going to get this turkey ready. So let me situate the camera again, and we'll get this turkey unwrapped. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this on, which I've already turned it on, but I unplugged it. So we're going to use this handy dandy little tool. This is some chicken or turkey broth that we made a couple years ago. And so I'm going to use it. I don't know if that's... I'm going to strain it because I'm not sure what that is. So, I found my little strainer. That should be enough to not strain it into something else. I mean, it was sealed. It just... slide that up. So you never know what may or may not happen. It looks like seasonings. And I'm not going to pour the bottom of it because it's got some skunk in it. But that's what that looks like. Some, pretty much liquefied seasoning. Yeah, it's seasoning. So then I'm just going to pour it in here. That way we'll have, and now let's spray. Not the best stuff to do, but that's what we're doing. So now we are just going to open this little turkey here. So we thaw it out, and we got to know how many pounds it is. So 14 and a half. So we're doing 9 minutes per pound. So yeah, we'll figure that out here in a minute. I'm not mathing this morning. It's too early. to being a mathematician. I was trying to connect my, what is this thing? Remote control for the GoPro this morning, and it's not wanting to connect either, so that's okay. Yeah, it's funny. It's a good thing I looked, because I was connected, I plugged in the toaster, not the... Yeah, this little turkey isn't as big as probably what most people would use, like for Thanksgiving, but let me get rid of all the gunk inside, and set that down on the thing, and then undo the insides, because it does have the neck in there. I'm just gonna cook it. I'm not gonna. It doesn't really matter if you put these little legs back into that little fat piece or not, but I'm gonna rinse them off. I like to rinse them, make sure there's no other stuff, because stuff that gives it in there in a weird place. They shove them under the skin, under the, like on the breast. That's super ghastly. So, here's our lovely little bird. And we're going to put him in his pan. Now we have to wash our hands. And dry. Alright guys, so there is our turkey, and then I'm also going to put the heart and liver and stuff in this, that way the dogs can have a little treat. So put it in there. That's disgusting. And then you can season it if you want to, not season it if you want to. You can wait and season it, you know, put salt, pepper, or whatnot in the jar with your turkey. So, let's see how long we need to cook them. It's 14.5 pounds. 9 for 2 hours, and that's not. I'll probably cook them 2 hours and 25 minutes. It's not quite that long, but I think that'll be plenty of time for this little bird to be cooked. Now, when you're canning turkey, you can, if you're not comfortable partially cooking your turkey, then you, I'm gonna wash that down. It's disgusting. You can cook it all the way. You don't have to partially cook it. You can cook it partially, and that's just fine too. It doesn't hurt anything. The reason behind cooking it partially is that when you pressure can it, it's going to cook. So it'll cook the rest of the way. And some people do raw pack, where they just cut the turkey up just like it is, put it in the jars, pressure cook it, or pressure can it, and it cooks your turkey. So, yeah, I usually do it this way. Makes me feel better, because then I know for sure that it's cooked, and then it'll be all good to go. So we will be back in a couple hours when this turkey is done, because we'll have to, it tells you to do it all when it's hot, but you know what? I cannot do that. My fingers don't work that way. So, but we'll get this started, and we'll see you back when we're ready for the next step, or we're ready for the pickles. All right, so now it is time for the pickles. So it calls for 4 pounds of cucumbers. So this is zeroed out with that on there. So we're just gonna put, I'm trying to use the smallest ones, of course. I mean, I don't know. It tells you 4 pounds, and then it says, you know, it doesn't say cut or, you know, anything in that regards to where, I mean, are you talking cut cucumbers or not? So, I don't know. I'll probably go a little over 4 pounds. I'm trying to find the smaller ones, which I have several of the smaller ones. Let's see here. Maybe one more. We might be able to do 2 batches. So let's go up to 8 and see. Because honestly, we need to try to use as many of these cucumbers as possible. Because y'all know we're going to be getting a bunch more. Maybe one more. What does that put us at if I put that one on there? 9. That will probably be okay, because we got to cut the ends off of all of these, and some of them, you know, aren't a full cucumber. So we're going to go with that. So we're going to make a double batch, and we may do it 1 batch at a time. So that will be the plan. And now we turn on some water, clean out the sink really good, and get this part done, because it has to soak in a brine solution for 2 hours. So we will be getting this all ready, and make sure there's no more soap in the sink. So let's get these cleaned up, and we'll be back. Right. So the next thing we're gonna do is cut off the ends of these And then I'll just, this one's almost too big for the thing, for the little slicer. So I'm going to measure these out as well. That way, we have like 4 pounds and not, you know, 5 and something or whatever. Because we need to make sure that we don't go like way over. All right. Well, we're going to cut these up and see if I get them when they're small enough. They don't have so many seeds in them. Alright, we'll be back with the next step. 2 onions, and here's the puppies. We're gonna go see. We have a couple onions that we can dig up in here. I mean, I know we have onions. I'm trying to see. Yeah, they're still pretty small, but we got some. I just don't want to take them up if they're not very big, because they're not gonna. So we'll just leave them because I don't think they're big enough for what I need yet. That's like 2 together. But yeah, they need to be weeded again. I mean, bindweed, man, y'all, that is the worst stuff ever. Because I can pull this stuff out every day and then it's back. There's more where that came from every day. So that one, it's a tiny one. It don't look very big. Got us a little one, but look at that end, so that's why I pulled it, because it's not looking very good. When it comes to, I mean, it just looks really small. I don't think it's going to get any bigger. The way its little leaves are, where the ends are. So, but, yeah, we'll just cover that one back up, and we'll come, they'll have to be watered later. So, I guess we're just going to, see, we got big plans for that area. We can get something done pretty soon. So, alright, I'm going to go cut up the onion we got in the house. Alright guys, so we have our pickling salt here, and it calls for 1/4 of a cup. And just sprinkle it all over the pickles. After I do that, I didn't really read the directions. Sprinkle pickling salt over the cucumbers and onions, and then you're going to let it sit for 2 hours at room temperature. So kind of hopefully not mess up my husband's tray that he uses for his famous mac and cheese. And it's that's probably the spiciest mac and cheese. And it, I mean, spice is always, you know, you never know. But you just kind of have to get your hands in there. You want to make sure that all this, at least, because this is going to help pull out the moisture out of the cucumbers. And that's what helps make it them crunchy, is to pull some of that moisture out. So it is 9:15, so at 11:15 this will be ready for the next step. Alright guys, so here's our turkey. It is partially cooked, and we're fixing to take it out of the pan and put it on this big turkey platter. And we'll see. Because this is always the not so fun part. Because I really don't have all the stuff that I probably need to get this thing out. Try to get the juice out as much as possible. One thing with it being partially cooked is that you don't have, it's easier to pick up, it's not all falling apart. So now we're going to move it so we can cut it up and put it in some jars. So let me get it moved and we'll be back. Okay, so here we are with this lovely, lovely turkey. So, you know, basically just cut it apart. I kind of mix the, you know, dark meat with the white meat, because the dark meat is always a little juicier. And we just pull all the bones off, and it's still hot. Whew. Still hot. And then we're just gonna put it in these jars. I don't know how many we're gonna have. So you leave 1.5 inches of headspace once you get done with the whole thing. So let me we're just gonna, don't put the skin in there. I'm gonna save it so we can make some more turkey broth though. I just cut it in little pieces, tear it up, and just put it in the jars, and then you'll have some good turkey. I mean, don't cut it up in little tiny pieces because it's still going to cook some more probably. You know, it's going to cook, and you don't want to have it little shredded pieces everywhere. You're gonna, you just want either strips of it or just chunks, because you gotta, if you want to shred it after, you know, when you open it to use it, that's great. And this is, I would say this is probably a little bit doner, but you can do it from completely cooked if you don't want to, you know, if you're not comfortable just doing it, you know, cooking it partially, you can, you know, cook the whole thing and then, you know, put it in jars. This is still hot. Ooh, that could have been bad on my toes. You can, it's still hot. I did turn it off and let it finish. And we've been gone. We had to go run some errands, so we had to run to Walmart. I needed some more onions to make all of these cucumbers pickles. So that's kind of, we kind of pack. I lightly pack them, you know, and you can do chicken this way, the exact same way. So like if there's a sale on chicken breast or whole chickens or any of that, you can do the exact same thing with chicken. And I mean, it makes it nice, makes it handy, especially if, like I said, if you want to make soup, this is a perfect thing to make soup. And I use the smaller pint jars versus the quarts because, for one, there's just 2 of us. And, you know, if we need more, there's more in there. So, and that way you're not using more than what you need. That kind of thing. So all this over here, I will use that to make more turkey broth, and we may end up heating, maybe not, I may not heat any more up. I may just use put hot water in it, because you can do that too. So I don't think we're gonna even get very many jars, because this is not obviously a huge turkey. So, and that's okay. We just needed it out of our freezer because of all the pork that we put in there. And so that is all of that. So let me work on this, and then I'll be back and I'll show you the next step after you get these all filled up. I'll have to clean my hands. Alright guys, so this is what's left. There's still meat on here and whatnot, but I'm going to use this to make turkey broth. So we're just going to set it aside somewhere. And so we have 6 jars of turkey meat. So the next thing that we are going to do is I'm going to get a small measuring cup that really doesn't do anything, and we're going to strain some of this turkey broth into another cup while we are filling our pot with hot water. And yeah, we got a few dirty dishes around, but that's okay. Let me watch. This can only be filled so much. But this way we're going to have turkey broth that from this turkey that has, but we're going to strain out the gunk out of it. You know, the big chunks of stuff. So, and then I'm going to pour it all over the counter. So, which is what I just did. This way it keeps like all the skin and whatever else gunk is in there. And it's probably should be hotter than it is. I probably should have turned it back on while we were doing the turkey. But that's okay. We're going to put them, all this is just leftover stuff from dishes that need to be put up. So then we're going to come over here and we fill each one of these jars with broth. And then we'll take a knife. I have a little plastic thing that you poke down in there to try to get all the air bubbles out. But you can also use a knife to do the same thing. And then when you do that, it'll help get the juice all the liquid in there. So you just kind of, because you don't want any air pockets in there. So then we're just going to add some more, and we're just going to go to right here on each one of these. So try to get the air out. As you can see, I don't know if you can see that, but there's like little air pockets in there. And so you try to get all those out. And then once you get them, then you'll be adding a little bit more juice, broth, whatever you want to call it. We're going to move these back behind. And we'll get this one done. Get all the air pockets out of it. Just like that. And because this is a greasy type, you know, it's got obviously turkey broth and turkey meat. So you have, you know, the fat from the turkey and the broth. So what you'll do is you will, before you put the lid and the ring on these to can, you will need to be sure that you wipe the top of the jar off with, see, this one can use a little bit more, that, because you'll want to make sure that there's nothing on this rim to keep you from getting a good seal. Because if there is fat from the turkey or water or anything that can, you know, get between the seal and the jar, that could be a bad situation. And that's why once you get these all done, you make sure that you take the rings off. You never store them with a ring on, so that you can make sure you get a good seal on each one of these. So let me get some more broth. We'll fill this one up and we'll clean the rings. All right. So now we are going to clean the jars off. We're just going to use some white vinegar. And all you do here is just what it suggests. So you take paper towel right here and your vinegar, get some on the paper towel just like that, and then you're just going to wipe the rings off, or the jars off, just like this. That will clean them off, each one. And so our 14.5 pound turkey made 6 full pint jars of turkey. And then we will pressure can them. They're still warm, they're just not hot. But if I just put these jars into the canner with hot water, and then turn it on, let them sit for about 5 minutes in that hot water, then I'm not worried about, I mean, I haven't, knock on some wood here, I have not had any break, but that does not mean that they won't break. So that is that. And then I'm gonna get out the stuff that I have in the freezer so that we can make this turkey broth. So I have like onion peels and carrot peels and all of that kind of stuff that we are gonna add to this turkey pan and just boil the heck out of it. And then we'll be able to have some more turkey broth. And we'll show you that process too. All right guys, so there are our jars in the canner. So we're fixing to put the lid on. We're going to turn it on and it will, you get it boiling while steam's coming out of the spout. And once that happens, then you put on the little weight and then you let it get to 15 pounds of pressure and you let it sit, simmer, cook, whatever, for I believe 75 minutes. And that you have to check how many minutes and what your pressure is, because it all depends upon the altitude that you live in. So be sure you check recipes, look at the ball canning recipe book. It gives you great information. You have great information that will come with your pressure canner if you decide to get one. I will try to remember to put the links for the items that I'm using into the description. All right, now back to our broth. So what I am doing is, so I keep the onion peels and skins and everything, and I don't always do it, but I need to remember that there's already a bag, because here's 2 bags of the onion stuff, and I didn't keep the onion stuff from today. And then I have got some celery that got frozen, so I just stuck it in the freezer. And I'm just going to use it all, because, I mean, it is what it is. And that way we'll get some stuff out of the freezer. And then I have all this carrots. Carrot peelings, carrot tops and bottoms and whatnot. So then the next thing I'm going to do is just add water. I'm going to add water to this whole pot, and I'm going to get it as full as I can get it, and that way it will be a lot of broth, because we'll take all these vegetables and everything out of it, and we'll only can the broth. And then I'll add some salt to it as well. But we're just going to fill it up. And what was left of the broth, you know, is still in here. I didn't empty anything. Just left it as it was. I have it at 300 degrees. I may turn it down to about 250, and that way I can just let it simmer, and it won't be like trying to cook all this stuff. But yeah, we'll fill it up as full as we can, and then we'll pull out all the and we'll let it simmer for probably an hour or 2, maybe a little longer, and that way we can we'll have some really nice broth to put on our shelves. And I always mark the month and the year. That way you can rotate your, you know, canned goods, your stock. So I have some from 22, and this will be 24. We did chicken broth in 23, and that way I'm gonna put the 24 back behind the 22. That way we make sure we'll use it first. So, and then I'll show you our new canning closet, so to speak. It has all of our canned goods. Well, not all. I'm working on moving them all in there. But then I'm going to put the lid on, and we're going to add some sea salt to it. I don't want, I'm going to add salt. But other than that, I mean, you can put other things in it, but I usually just put salt. That way you can season it how you want it, you know, for whatever you're going to be making. So there we have it. That is the turkey broth in the roaster. Well, y'all see, I was so busy trying to do all my stuff that we forgot to put the turkey carcass in here. So I took part of the stuff out, put it in another pot, and added the turkey carcass to this, and now we're going to simmer it for a couple hours, and then we'll have our turkey broth. Alright guys, so the steam is coming out. I don't know that you can see it, but there's steam coming out of here. And then you take your weight and you put it on there, and then that's going to rise. And we want it at 15 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes. So you don't start counting until it reaches 15 pounds of pressure. Alright guys, we are back to the pickles. So now we are going to pass these pickles into these jars, and I'm just doing like a few at a time because I want to make sure that we got all the salt brine off of them. Because since we're canning them, we do not have to cook them with the pickle juice stuff that we're gonna make. So I'm just gonna pack these in here. I think it said 1/4 of an inch headspace, but you know, as long as I don't overpack them, we'll be fine, because they are what they are. I don't necessarily need them to be completely full, to be honest. So, and then these will be the same way. We will make sure that the jar tops are dry and clean, and we'll do that with vinegar again. So, and some of these pickles are really, or cucumber pieces are really big. We'll add some more onion to that one. I just grabbed 6 jars because I really didn't know how many it would take. So, yeah, that's probably about right with those. So let me get the rest of them ready. And hubby is working on our outdoor project today. He is busting his butt. I appreciate him so much because he is actually digging up rock that was around the pool, the pool that we took down. And oh man, that is a chore because it has that pool's been there for over, 10 years. So that just is a lot of dirt and sediment that has covered those rocks, and I had started pulling them up, but kind of got to where I was doing all the deliveries and trying to, get the channel going, and So he has been awesome and so supportive of all of the craziness that I'm doing. So all I'm doing here is rinsing these off, get all the brine off. I rinsed them, put them in this colander, and now we're going to, try to get some of this water off of them, just shake them around in the colander a little bit, and a couple little slimy pieces of onion that I need to get rid of. And the pressure canner is at 10. I need it to be at 15. However, I do know if I can't get it all the way to 15, which I'm pretty sure I can because I have done it before, we'll just cook it longer. Because some of them tell you to cook for 20 minutes. You know, add 5 minutes to the time, depending on if your altitude is above a certain number. So, if we have to do that, that's fine too. That one. And some of these are like big pieces. I don't like that one. It looks yucky. I mean, it just has a lot of seeds in it. Some of these, I mean, they're supposed to be pickling pickles, but I don't think they really all are, because these just kind of grew willy-nilly, so it's definitely not the same when you actually know what you planted. So yeah, we'll probably need at least one more jar. And that's fine. We'll probably do one jar and just put them in the fridge. Grab one more jar, and that should be plenty. And then we'll just set these aside and wait until we can make the brine that we need, or the sauce for them, because right now we have stuff on the stove, and therefore that isn't going to happen. That piece in there. And we just got a few more pieces to, that's the one thing, I mean, some of these kind of have a lot of seeds in them, so that's okay. I'll just do that. So we have 7 jars, and that's only with half of the pickles. So we still have another 4 pounds to do. So that's okay. So we'll be back when we are ready for the next step. Alright guys, so the yard project. So around what was the pool, there is a huge layer all the way around of rock. So we are digging this rock up. So that's what all this is. And it is not, I mean, they're like, some of them are like little pieces, and it's in weeds, all that stuff. So then, I mean, it goes all the way around. And of course, it's been years. It's been over 10 years that this pool's been here. So we have, well, I didn't do so much, but hubby dug a bunch of it up, and I'll show you where it's relocated. Put the little netting down, and this is how many wheelbarrows of rock?
4 or 5.
4.
and that's all we got covered. So, but we'll be probably, this will be a month process, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
So, but appreciate you, honey.
No problem, baby. Glad to help.
But then once that gets done, we'll figure out what we're gonna do when it comes to the backyard and putting down a concrete slab and hopefully getting a hot tub. Be nice to have it by winter.
Yeah.
All right, guys, so we have some of our turkey out. We have these 3 left, so we're going to use our jar tongs to get them out and set them out here on the counter. And you can see they're still boiling and they're still bubbling. So I'm just going to leave them on the counter for 24 hours, let them cool. Then you will remove the band off of them and make sure that they've all sealed. That one hasn't. I don't know if it will, because it looks like it might have been too full, but I never know. Oh, there it goes. But there are our 6 jars of canned turkey. They look amazing. So my grandma, you can do turkey, ground beef, ground pork, roast, pretty much any kind of meat. You just find an approved canning recipe. My grandma used to make canned cubed roast. So she'd take a roast, cut it up, put it in quart jars, and can it for use in beef and noodles. So you make your own noodles, and then you would take and put the shredded beef on top, and we could do it with chicken. She'd always do chicken and noodles or beef and noodles, and that was something that we had when I was growing up at my grandma's, along with one of my favorite things, which was fried mush, which is just cooked cornmeal that you cook it and you put it in a loaf pan and put it in the refrigerator overnight, and then slice it in thin slices and fry it, and you put butter and honey on it. It was amazing. So now we'll work on the next project. All right, guys, so now to make this juice for the pickles. So it calls for 2 cups of vinegar, the white vinegar. I just put it in there from the car. So
oh,
this is what I use. Yeah, it was in the car. Cups of vinegar, which makes your house stink, because vinegar is stinky.
Stinky.
Yep. 2 cups of sugar, because we're doing sweet pickles this time. I'm going to make one more batch of dill pickles, and then I think we're done pickling. We'll be giving tons of cucumbers away. Or maybe we can sell them on somewhere, because maybe someone else's cucumbers didn't work. Unfortunately, ours overproduced because we didn't plant any. Then you are going to need, of course I forgot to get the measuring cups out. Measuring spoons out. So it calls for 1 tablespoon of celery seed. I do not have celery seed. I have celery salt. So we're just gonna use, like a tablespoon. I thought there was a half, but we're gonna make a half of one. So there's that. Then it calls for a tablespoon of mustard seeds. So I'll have to, I can probably get by with just these. So there's a tablespoon of mustard seed and a tablespoon of whole cloves. So let me get the lid back on the mustard seeds. So this is what they are. Just yellow mustard seed. And then we're going to use some whole cloves. 1 tablespoon. So this is probably a little bit more. Then the next thing you're going to do is combine all of that. You can also add garlic if you want to, but I'm not going to in these. Maybe the next batch. So then I'm looking for where it talks about how to, these pages are all out of order, so I'm thinking that's part of the problem. Just gonna turn this on and simmer it, because we are not, yeah, these are way out of order. 3, 5, okay. I'll have to figure out where the right pages are. So, but we're gonna simmer this, and then we will pour those into the pickle jars, and then we will water bath can those. So we'll see you on the next step. All right, guys, so we're finishing up the pickles. We got the stuff, the juice all finished, and I'm going to pour some in each one because obviously the mustard seeds float. And then I'll come back and, so our 7 jars turned into 6 jars because we may have to make some more stuff. Yep, that is not enough. So we'll make another recipe. You have to have the right amount of vinegar and sugar in order for it to be canned properly. So you can't just make a half a recipe or whatever. You just have to follow the recipe, and if whatever's left, we'll just have to probably toss, but that's okay. So I'm gonna make some more and finish filling these up, and we'll be back in a moment. Okay, guys, so here is our chicken broth, and we are now, so I took all this big stuff out into that pot, into that pan. So now we are straining this into, because you can't get all the stuff out. So now we're just trying to very carefully strain that into here, because once it has all been strained, it goes in the refrigerator, and I usually leave it in there way longer than it needs to be, because I can't just do this tomorrow. So it'll be in there probably until next week, and then we'll finish our canning of our turkey broth. So it will, and then we will, so I'm going to continue to do this, and I will see you back with the next step. Okay guys, so here is our chicken broth, and we are now, so I took all this big stuff out into that pot, into that pan. So now we are straining this into, because you can't get all this stuff out. So now we're just trying to very carefully strain that into here, because once it has all been strained, it goes in the refrigerator, and I usually leave it in there way longer than it needs to be, because I can't just do this tomorrow. So it'll be in there probably until next week, and then we'll finish our canning of our turkey broth. So it will, and then we will, so I'm going to continue to do this, and I will see you back with the next step.